everybody, to Fresh Outlook. I'm TWB. Ask yourself this question. How many times a day do you check Facebook and Twitter, Instagram, all that jazz? Do you feel the need to post everything about your life online? Myself, I do not, but that's just me. It certainly seems now more than ever, everyone's lives are available for public consumption. So the question is, has privacy become obsolete? Is it a thing of the past? Take a look.
Having recently celebrated their billionth user, social media site Facebook is bigger than ever. And across the web, people are sharing more than ever, whether they know it or not. Today, people use the net to share everything from vacation pictures to shopping lists to resumes. But what they may not realize is just how much sites like Facebook and Google are taking from them. In a move denounced by some as a massive invasion of privacy, Google has announced changes that will piece together information from Gmail to YouTube to the Google+ social network. Of course, this isn't new, as personal information collected on social websites is already being sold to retailers and advertisers.
The list just goes on and on.
And if you went to these sites and thought you were there privately, you weren't.
That's right.
And just this week, another Facebook hoax taking advantage of consumers' privacy fears has raised alarms. What are the dangers of our increasing lack of privacy online and beyond? Is privacy itself now outdated? Is America becoming a share-it-all culture?
Is it becoming?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
When did it become this way?
Well,
I mean,
when Andy Warhol declared that actually that in the future everyone would be famous for 15 minutes, and guess what? The future is right now.
Right.
And there is this inclination. Everyone wants to share all their stuff online.
Everyone wants to be famous. I mean, it gets
Yeah.
back to
Everyone
this.
except you. You
Look
say you
at
don't
me.
get involved in social media too much.
Well, I post everything about a brew. I post all of our shows, all of our
Well, that's
pieces,
safe.
But I don't think anyone really cares, that I had pancakes for breakfast, which is what everyone else in America seems to care about in terms of, oh, look at me, I had syrup.
It's
How
how
my
empty
pancakes.
I think we are. A culture is just so completely empty that we get dabble in this kind of fawning over ourselves and talking about like what we had
An
for breakfast
insatiable
or
appetite for
What is going
access. And the technology, I think it's difficult for us, and me, who's a little bit older, to appreciate how technology changes how people interact with the world. And so
Right.
younger people who sort of have grown up with a very, very direct interface with computers and with phones have a very, very different perception about how social media operates.
It's there, so use it.
It's there, so use it, and
Yeah.
it's part of their lives. And they're people talk about cyborgs all the time, but we're more like cyborgs now, which we're more glued to and sort of interconnected with technology. And that's something. We want to talk about privacy, and we can be alarmist about it right now, but the trend for that is what it is, and I think younger people will rue the day.
They have a
They'll win the day with this.
different perspective on communication in general.
Absolutely.
Kids today live in a live out loud culture. I think that I'm sort of on the cusp of that. I'm not that young, I'm not that old, and I learned Facebook a couple years into it, and I've been on it for a while now, and probably have, and this isn't for any other reason than for the purposes of this exercise, on social media, a combined 20,000 or 25,000 people through my various social media things, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, or whatever. And it is a burden to manage all of that, but it's a necessary evil given the kind of a job and the kind of a life that I live as a public figure.
Get them doing the social media for free.
So there are people that I think, like James, who's always posting his segments that when he appears on network cable shows that have to do with the economy, that have to do with education, that have to do with really important things. It's a great way to disseminate information. Pancakes, however, are different.
Right,
as
it's a
are
difference between disseminating
bikini
information about
pictures
something
or-
else or just about me.
Yeah, and I think that's,
right.
listen, and you're right, we can draw some important distinctions. You can play around with Twitter if you want to, but it's also a very, very powerful social media tool. You can see how it impacts politics and how it impacts the dissemination of information in some very, very serious ways. But it's also this issue about privacy online is important in terms of people, when they can be someone else, or when they can have an avatar or be, someone other than themselves, they're also more likely to be engaged in racism and sexism and hate speech and other things. So there are all kinds of issues around privacy and identity that we still have to work through, because a lot
There
of this
are a
stuff is
lot of
really
folks
new
that
for
are
us.
in my business as news anchor and stuff that get fired because one woman recently in Louisiana actually replied to somebody who called her the N-word on Facebook, and then she got fired as a consequence of that. Who knows, whatever the specifics were. Things like that happen oftentimes. So you're also opening yourself up to
You've got to
a
have
heck of a
more
lot
self-control
of
in this wide open
opportunities.
world.
Yeah.
It takes a lot more kind of internal restraint. You
That's
can't
right.
go sharing everything because there is a commodity. comeuppance.
Yep.
The chickens will come home to roost,
They
and
will.
you better be prepared for that to happen.
Yeah, for young people who like to post party pictures and things of that nature, you know, they've got to realize that when you post something on Facebook or you post it on Twitter, you put it in the internet sort of
Fair game.
atmosphere. It's there forever.
Or when someone
Employers are
else
gonna
does
find-
about you
Yep.
and
It's
they
there
Google you
forever.
and it could be wrong, you know, that's why
That's
you
the other
gotta
risk.
pay
That's
some
the other
money to
risk.
reputation.com to fix it.
Did you guys hear about this Facebook hoax?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which
yeah.
one?
Yeah, there's so many.
Well, let me tell you. Let me
Where to
show you.
start?
Take a look.
You may have seen this. A hoax about privacy on Facebook has actually gone viral on the social networking site. The hoax surfaced after a recent email from Facebook updating its privacy policy. In response, a lot of users are posting and sharing a statement that they think will protect their postings under copyright laws.
Recently, you probably saw this update. I hereby declare that my copyright is attached to all of my personal details. The lengthy post goes on to cite laws and international copyright agreements, but the whole thing is actually a hoax.
Here are some other things you could declare and have exactly the same impact.
I am Kultramac, King of Pennsylvania. I'm exempt from taxation, alternate side parking, and talking to my mom's friends. If you're reading this, now I own your car.
I get to have 2 bar mitzvahs. I am hereby...
Yeah, it's silly.
What was he going to say?
Who knows? But it's irrelevant. The point is that was irrelevant. You have to change your privacy settings. A couple years back, because I do have all these different pages, there was some information on there that I A, took down, I B, deleted, I C, changed the privacy settings in terms of who could see what I, posted and who couldn't. And the thing is you have to assume that regardless of how strict you are with your privacy settings, that because of the friends of friends can view this or that, and then sometimes if you tag somebody, they might be able to see you even if you say no, they're not friends of 9 and whatever, that it's out there.
Yeah,
so
and look
once
at
it's out
Mitt
there, cat's out of the
Romney's
bag.
attempts at actually buying Twitter followers and how pathetic that makes a person look to actually try to take advantage of the system and really falling flat on his face and doing so.
How do we feel, but in terms of this invasion of privacy, Google announced that they're going to start piecing information together from your Gmail to your YouTube to your Google Plus to personally sort of, to personalize advertisements.
France has taken...
this?
That's already been happening, though.
Right.
That's like Google and Facebook. They've already been selling
been going
information
on.
and developing different niche markets based upon profiles of users. I mean, you have to, I think, like with any new technology, you have to become smart about it. You have to become literate in it. And I think with Facebook and Twitter, it's about being literate about privacy setting. It's about understanding what it is and what we're working with. And I think that's how you protect yourself against unnecessary or undue
do you
exposure.
like that? Do you like the personalized advertisement, the personalized feel, because you've shared what you
have you ever been motivated to buy something based upon that personalized things that happens to you on the web? Have you?
So
no.
Here's
I never have. You have?
Here's
what happened. I thought I was the anomaly.
Excuse me. I have never felt motivated. In fact, I've been demotivated because that little flag will show up on my Facebook page indicating that I should go buy another lamp set or something like that because I did a search on eBay last week on that very topic.
But let me just tell you, I mean, I'm a
less
big
motivated,
tennis fan.
not more so.
Living Social knows I like tennis. They sent me tickets about an event I would have never known about if
Right.
they
Yeah.
had
And so that was
I
a good
went
thing.
and they got my money.
Right.
But it was a good thing.
That's
so
a good
those
thing.
cookies
Right.
and those things, I think really the answer to the question is it depends on whether or not you really want what they're hawking. At the end of the day, if you're going to be online, you have to do a certain amount of self-monitoring, and you have to recognize, unless you hire someone specifically to put up this super duper firewall kind of activity, that whatever you do is going to get out there. Google knows more about us than
I think this is Pollyanna of you to think that you actually have as much control as you think you do.
Well, listen,
I think we need batteries of lawyers to protect our interests at this
we
point.
can critique the technology, but
It's
this
way
is more
ahead of
about
the
what
consumer.
advertisers are going to do anyway. I mean, there's some really smart people in the advertising industry, and if we didn't have this technology, they would be finding other ways to put together different demographics. Studies show that just about everything that we consume is dictated and determined by the way advertising works. So if it wouldn't be the internet, it'd be TV. If it wouldn't be TV, it'd be magazine
Whatever's
ads.
available.
I mean, whatever's available.
What do you think about people getting fired? Like you mentioned this a little bit, posting things they shouldn't, because they were drunk and let's just say whatever the circumstances. It's scary.
Again, like they say, never pick up the phone after a couple margaritas. You know,
No.
never pick up
Or
Facebook after
text.
Drunk
yeah,
text,
like
right.
don't, you know, you definitely don't want to do those things. They're going to potentially put
I
you
say
in
if you're going to
in
go
a
out
rough
on town,
situation.
don't take your phone with you. Have no connection to the internet.
Oh, that's
You
impossible.
don't want
Somebody else is going to have a phone to take your picture.
Exactly. Big Brother's always watching.
Well, the thing is this is somebody who actually is putting their own stuff out there, and in some cases responding to somebody. If you're a public figure, whatever that is termed, as you're a news anchor or an elected official, we've seen it happen with a lot of different people, and a lot of celebrities too take down their Twitter accounts. You see Chris Brown, you know, just recently took down his Twitter account because he's been accused, obviously, and convicted of assaulting his ex-girlfriend, and a lot of people are against his music. He's an entertainer now because of that, and he just finally said, you know, enough of that. We saw Ashton Kutcher, who had a famous, you know, standoff with Larry King, formerly
What
of
about
CNN,
the average person
about
out there?
raising
Excuse me.
out
What about the
number-
average person out there who has something bad online about them that somebody put on about them, or something that they
reputation.com.
How do you combat
Let's
that?
do something constructive right now. What do they do if there's something negative
Like
online?
Francesca said, you go to Reputation.com. There are other services like that, but there are services that you can go to.
I don't know about this. What,
Reputation.com is a service that will essentially screen all the ways in which your hits come up either through Google or other searches. See what other pictures they can do. You know, I don't want to scare people, but there's face recognition software is a part of what Facebook has, and so they can recognize your image across the internet sphere. So Reputation.com will, and there are other services, I don't want to necessarily plug them, that will go in, find out what's going on, what are the negative things about you, what are the things that about you can control.
And if you don't Google yourself on a semi-regular basis, then it's going to
There's a lot that people can do themselves.
That's true too.
If there's some negative stuff out there, and it happens, you know, stuff happens.
Right,
but what you can do is that the premise is, if there's something that's showing up in the top 10 hits, you need to actually get more positive out there to actually drive them further down on searches,
can I say,
so they don't show up on page 1, 2, or 3.
Aside from that, what I worry most about is just this generation, the kids today growing up in this society where take a picture, let me post every action, every move I make.
Like
I got to show the world, show the world.
We're in this. Listen, we're in this cyborg moment. We're in a cyborg.
I feel middle-aged.
We're in a cyborg moment where people are fused to technology in ways that they haven't been, and what's going to happen is through education. In other words, we've got to stress human interaction, people talking to each other, and also just understand it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be.
I will also submit that because we've moved further and further away from our original communities, social media has been a way for us to connect with people virtually in ways that we can't anymore.
How do you define connect?
Look at
Easy Pass.
I think is problematic.
Easy Pass got rid of that interaction with toll takers. I mean, it made life easier.
God
but
for that.
But come on, human connection, interaction.
Well, listen, but no, wait, hold on, wait.
I enjoyed that growing up. I don't have it anymore.
Wait. Sometimes people still need to stop and talk to a human being at the toll booth to get directions. They don't have money. There's always going to be a need for humanity, even if we have all these technological
I'm going to have
advances.
to stop talking to you right now, even though I don't want to, because I like this social interaction. Because we got to go to break.
Yes.
Coming up on Fresh Outlook, changing the conversation around the holidays from shopping back to giving. It's about time. Could this become the new holiday American tradition? That's next. Don't go away.